Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Believe Show. I'm really delighted that we have Mary McCoy here with us, and we have a very cool topic. But before we do that, let me introduce Mary to you a little bit. So some information about Mary. Mary is an executive coach who focuses on helping leaders through the transitions that result from promotion, primarily director to VP. I know a lot of you all are here with us that are in that situation, so I think you might especially have your ears open. Mary has tons of years of technology services leadership experience at Hewlett-Packard, where she was known for her ability to grow new revenue in new product lines. And I'll just add one more thing, Mary, which is I love how we met. I was speaking with an executive at one of the companies that I work with. She said, Sonia, you have to meet this incredible executive coach that I know, which is Mary. And then we met, I don't even know when, a couple of years ago, and have been in contact since.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
Yeah. So you have this belief, and I would love to just lay it on our audience and share it with everybody. What is something that you believe to be true that others in your field would not necessarily agree with you about?
So I believe through the experience that I've had in helping people find jobs, that you can actually get a job by just simply applying online. And it's not, I say simply, but it's really not simply, because there's a lot more to it than that. But the tradition has been that, the best way to get a job is to network your way into a job. And that does help. I mean, there's no question. But if you don't happen to know anyone in the field that you're trying to pivot to, or that the field that you're in, or your resources just aren't getting you where you want to go, the online world of applying does not have to be a black hole.
I'm thrilled that you came with this topic because it's completely counterintuitive. In this day and age, everybody says, get out and network more, talk to the people you know, talk to the people you don't know. But you are not going to, by clicking an online application, get a job. What is it that made you come to this belief, made you see it differently?
Yeah, so there's really just tricks of the trade that help you when you're applying online. The idea of applying online was to make the whole process more efficient. And it did exactly the opposite. It made the process wildly inefficient because everybody was applying for everything. And the people on the other end who really only want to hire one person had to now sort through thousands. Now, of those thousands, there were many more that were qualified than they used to be able to get access to. But sorting through them became extremely difficult. So what they did is they put robots in place, artificial intelligence machines, to sort through the thousands. And so anybody who didn't know the tricks of those robots immediately got eliminated. And that's why people who apply online blindly call it the black hole, because they apply and they get nowhere.
What do you recommend?
Some of the tricks, and I'll just share them here for, that I've learned that work well. Are first, you have to streamline your resume and your LinkedIn profile. And when I say streamline, I'm going to talk first about the resume, because with a resume, that's where you always start, and then you do your LinkedIn profile. But with a resume, there are certain, like the AI robots can't read a font size that's less than size 11. So if you're in 10.5, it's going to pick up every other word, or maybe not. Might not pick up any words. A lot of people, so you have to be 11. It also, they do better with sans serif based fonts. Say that fast several times, Sonia. The sans serif based fonts are better than serif based. So every other word is going to be mixed up if you're using a serif based font, which Times New Roman, which is a lot of people use, is serif based. So you don't want to use that. You want to use Arial.
And Arial or something that's sans serif and greater than 11 or greater font.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and then the last thing is, and this is big, is you don't want tables or graphs or pictures or all the things that you, especially my marketing clients, love to put in their resumes because they look better. And what I tell them is create a different resume that you're going to take to the interview, but do not use that resume online, because you will get nowhere. If there's a table, the robot will, the AI bots will just delete it. And
That's
often that table has your skills in it. And the skills are the keyword, but it's matching to determine, do you float up to the top 100 of the 1,000 that were submitted. So put your skills in your resume with just simply a list, say skills and expertise, and then a list of the skill, a vertical bar, the skill, a vertical bar, 2 spaces beside each of the vertical bars. And then the robots can very quickly figure out what your skills are. And then the final thing is just make sure that the summary, or the some people call it an objective, that you put at the top of your resume is a combination of who you are and what you're looking for. And if they're the same, that's easier, obviously. But if they're different, that's okay too. You want to say both. And then finally, if you have the ability to customize your resume, if you can take that summary or objective or whatever you call that first paragraph and put the title of the job that you're applying for as the title, rather than say summary, say regional sales manager, if the job you're applying for is regional sales manager. And then if the next job you're applying for is territory sales manager, then change it to territory sales manager.
So you're saying sorry to interrupt, you're saying that whole part where everybody puts objective or summary, instead of that, put regional sales manager, put the title that literally the one that you're sending that.
Yeah, because then you're a direct match.
Mary, I've never heard that. And it's, once you say it, it's so obvious, but also so ninja level, just so make these resumes stand out. I've never heard that. And that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So those are just a few tips. And then in LinkedIn, a lot of people misuse what's called the headline in LinkedIn. And that's another place where you can put a combination of what you are and what you want to be. So program manager, project manager, Six Sigma specialist, green belt, agile scrum master, whatever you are, is what you want to put in there, because that headline receives much more prioritization from the LinkedIn system than anything else in your LinkedIn profile by 3 to 5 times.
I have a follow-up on that. Literally a question that somebody asked recently. What if you are applying, let's say you're an executive and you're applying for let's say 2 different specialties, because you have experience in both? What should you do? Does that question make sense?
You put both of them in your headline with a vertical bar. So you have 180 characters there. You can do whatever you want. The default is they will just pull up what your last job was and recite it on that line. And that's the worst use of that line. So the best use is, if you were a recruiter and you wanted someone to find you, then put those words in that headline.
And do or do not put your current role.
If your current role is what you're also looking for, then yeah, go ahead and put your current role. But usually what it says is current role at Hewlett-Packard Corporation. And that whole Hewlett-Packard Corporation is that's a waste of characters.
That's a waste of characters. If you're looking for a role,
if you're looking for a job, I mean, you may be looking there, but you probably aren't. So, and that's not how that line's used. It's not used to figure out where you work. It's used to figure out what you're looking for.
I love an overall point that you're making, which is everything is streamlined towards where you're going.
Right. And we think of resumes in LinkedIn as where we have been. And they are. They are the official record, especially a resume. You can't lie. It has to be what you have done. But that first section is where you get to say, especially if you're pivoting from one career to another, from project manager to scrum master. If you're pivoting in any way from automotive industry to software sales, then you really want to make good use of that first paragraph and the headline in LinkedIn, because that will tell people that you're pivoting.
I am starting to understand your thesis that you can apply online if you do all of these very specific but valuable things. What next, Mary? So you've told us streamline your resume, and you've told us both operationally, font and everything, as well as how to make the highlight stand out, including putting in regional sales manager. Then you've told us make sure that your LinkedIn headline is both who you are and what you want to be. You were very clear about that. So I'm applying. What should I do next?
The next thing you do is I call it apply, apply, apply. So you get into LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever your favorite aggregator is. Those are my two favorites. Any job that's posted anywhere is posted in one of those two places. There are many, many others, but try not to get distracted by them. Pick one of those and apply, apply, apply. And you can apply in both of them, depending what you're looking for. Some jobs are more prevalent in Indeed, others are more prevalent in LinkedIn. And the reason I say apply, apply, apply is because you want to tell the system, either Indeed or LinkedIn, what it is you're looking for and that you're ready. Because somehow, and I honestly can't tell you how this works, but I have seen it so many times, I know it works, that when you get to about 40 job applications, and that seems like a lot, but it's really not, LinkedIn realizes that you're ready to move. You're looking for something. And then the recruiters, somehow you get sorted more toward the top of when they're searching for people, because you're in the system and the system knows what you're looking for. So I sometimes even tell people, even if the job isn't perfect for you, go ahead and apply anyway, especially if you're just trying to get to that 40 number. Now, that exacerbates the inefficiencies of the system, but the system is the system and we can't fix everything. So, go for it. And apply, apply, apply. So, and when and it's amazing, my clients were like, wow, I just got to 40 and so found me. And this recruiter called me the other day out of the blue. Well, it really wasn't out of the blue. It was because you've been out there looking, and they look for people who have been looking, which kind of makes sense, right?
I'm just smiling ear to ear because that I have not heard of that, but you're saying you have direct experience with that, and that it seems almost weird to apply to that many when you're still figuring out and you're looking for the right fit. But you're saying you need to get yourself
in the game,
warmed.
And I don't recommend that if you haven't decided whether you want to be a healthcare worker or a project manager or an IT specialist, then don't apply, because then you're just teaching the system that you don't know what you're doing. So, I mean, that's kind of rough. But once you've determined a pathway, and especially for people who are going to stay on the same pathway that they've been on, which is normally the case, then just get your resume ready, get your LinkedIn ready, and apply. And the other, just one more thing in LinkedIn, I would advise to change your background. Because there's a default background, but recruiters get tired of looking at that background, both internal and external recruiters. So put something on there that is different and maybe says a little bit about who you are. Doesn't have to.
What do you recommend? I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen bookcases. I've seen artistic images. I've seen abstract art. I've seen flowers. I've seen the names of the range of the companies that they've worked at. What do you recommend?
It doesn't matter, just so it's different than the default. And if somebody were to say to you, tell me what that background means, you have a little bit of an interesting story. Mm-hmm. Something better than, well, it was free in LinkedIn backgrounds, and so I picked it. Something about, well, I grew up in New York City, and so I love the New York City skyline, so that's why I have the New York City skyline. Yeah. So, just something. Yeah. You're just trying to keep yourself present in front of the recruiter, because they will flip through, the people that come up for them in their searches, and they see that background so much, the default. Luckily, LinkedIn changed the background recently, and it's much better, but
I'll add a tweak, which is that people can mark internally on their LinkedIn preferences that they're open for work.
I don't love that.
So let me make a distinction. I am not saying put the picture around you. There are two different ways. One is you can put the picture around you that says open to work. I actually don't recommend that either. That just, right. I don't know, it looks great. But there's a toggle in the background that you can turn on.
Yes, and that's helpful. There's also a way to make, if you have left your job and let's say you've been looking for a couple months, there's also a way to make your last job to say open to new opportunities.
Oh, okay.
So that way it's very clear, and you can put some keywords, more keywords in there of what you're looking for.
Where you're going.
So that's another.
Yeah. Anything else that even helps more with this process, in addition to what you've mentioned, the resume, the LinkedIn, and apply.
So the other thing is to prepare how to interview. Because the whole point of this is to get noticed and to get interviewed. And I guess I'd like to say the big trick question in interviews, the one that everybody gets, is tell me about yourself. And what they don't want to hear is your life's history. What they do want to hear is why you are good for this job, why you're going to make them successful. So what are your key value adds? What's the thing that you bring that nobody else brings? So just be careful how you answer that question, and be thoughtful about it, and do it in 90 seconds or less, because they just want to know why you're going to make their company better. And
the first interview is often with the recruiter, so they actually really need to know that and be able to convey that to the hiring manager.
Yeah. And it's especially important for hiring managers, because really they are looking for someone who's going to make them look better, right? If we're honest.
As I ask you the next question, for those of you who are with us today, what is a takeaway you have from everything Mary has been saying? What is something you might do differently when you're looking for a job? What's something that you hadn't thought about before that you're now thinking, oh, I should consider it? So let us know in the comments what your takeaway is. Okay, so people have done the resume, they've done the LinkedIn, they've applied, and now they've prepped for tell me about yourself. What else can help them with an online application specifically, as opposed to something that they have networked through a friend or colleague?
Well, always when you apply online, if it's a job that you are particularly interested in, I do advise going down the network path. So use LinkedIn to find out who else works there, and then reach out to them whether you know them or not. Okay, so there's 3 kinds of people in the world, and they break up like 33. So, and the first kind are collaborators and connectors, and they will always write back to you. Now, the next group are called obligates, and they will say that they're going to write back to you, but they don't quite get around to it. And then the third group are the curmudgeons, who are never going to write back to you. But if you think about, so your chances are only 1 in 3 that someone you don't know will write back to you. But that's 1 in 3. That's pretty darn good, honestly. And you never ask them to help you get a job. You ask them what they know about that company. You just say, I want 10 minutes of your time to do an informational interview to better understand your company. And you can tell them you're in job search, or you don't have to. But you're more likely to get a response than say, hey, can you, and then of course, if you get that 10 or 15 minutes, which you will, 20 to 35% of the time, you use your 15 minutes, and you always end with, is there anyone else in your company that I should meet, or that you would recommend I talk to? And you use that time to figure out more about the company, and you end with, oh, and by the way, I did apply for this job. You happen to know the hiring manager. So use LinkedIn to figure out who to network with, and don't be afraid to write to people you've never talked to or never met.
So when you say write to people you don't really know, you don't mean just first degree people who are connected with you, but you might not know very well. You actually mean people who are not right. Even connected to you.
Not even connected to you.
So let's say it's a company. Should I look for people that are in a similar area? Say I'm interested in sales.
Yeah, exactly. If you're interested in sales, or people who went to your same college. So if you graduated from college and you see they graduated from the same college, they're more likely to write back to you. So you try to find something that you connect with them on, and you use InMail if you can't, if you're not connected to them directly.
Yeah, Mary, this is wonderful. It's not just tricks, like you said, and tips, but it's actually, it's like they have a deeper purpose, these tips and tricks. They're about conveying the best version of yourself through the process that we have, which is a funny process of online applications.
Yeah. And the process evolved and the rules got created in the background without anybody sharing what the rules were. And so the rules have kind of they've been uncovered through happenstance, honestly. And so, yeah, no wonder people don't know, right? That's why when you ask me, what do I believe that nobody else believes? I'm like, I want this as a chance to share these rules, the unwritten rules.
Exactly. They've been uncovered by happenstance, but here they are. They are right here.
I'm sure there's more. I'm sure. And certainly if there are people who know more, put those in the comments because I'm always open to learning as well.
Figuring more out.
Yeah.
As we come near the close, what could you summarize your idea about applying online and what some of the main thoughts are that you have about it?
I think the first thing is don't be afraid that it's a black hole. Be willing to tackle it and be open to the fact that, yes, I say apply to 40 jobs. You're probably only going to hear from 3 of them or 5 max, but you only need one job. So remember, as you get rejection after rejection after rejection, which you do with this process, right? You only need one job. You are only one email away, one interview away, one negotiation away from going to work for a company that's either your dream company or your dream job. So stay focused and keep at it.
Mm-hmm. And if you were to snap your fingers and almost everyone in the world were to take some action, what action would you recommend that people take?
Wow, that's such a thoughtful question because I'm trying to think if I have to keep it to my topic or if I just
go wherever.
I'm going to not keep it to my topic, especially here in the U.S. I'm going to tell people to listen and unite. These are my unity pearls. Whether I supported or voted for the existing president or not is immaterial, but I do think we need to unite. So be kind and unite because we'll all be stronger for it.
Mary, thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, Sonia. Good to see you.
Great to see you. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All the best, everyone. See you tomorrow.